Welcome to Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is going to cover tables, specifically how to properly use and code them. First thing is, we must understand that data tables are different than layout tables. If you take a look at the two examples below, can you see which one has a data set and which one has a layout set? Technically, the one on the left has a data set. It is data that is used to create a table to create something that is visually appealing, versus the one on the right that has more of a list format and a table layout. Technically, you should never use this kind of layout with tables. You should only use tables to display some kind of data or form. Additionally, if you're ever looking at a website that has a table layout, then you should avoid that website altogether, mainly because the website hasn't been updated in about 20 years and it uses a very bad practice. So again, comparing the one on the left with the data set that creates a table with values and columns and records or rows, and the one on the right that has a table layout for the website. Again, this is a very bad practice, and I'll explain exactly why in a later video. But for now, let's talk about how to create some tables. Your basic table structure consists of three items: the table tag, which creates and ends the table, a row or a TR tag, and a cell or a TD tag, which stands for table data. So you have the table tag, the TR, table row, and the TD, table data tag. How all these work together, we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's take this example again with the item, price, quantity, and total. There are a few advanced features here, but for the basics, we'll cover just how to make this out of code. The first thing is you want to make sure to start the table tag. You also want to end the table tag, just like you start and end an HTML document, or you start and end a head section, you start and end a body section, you start and end a paragraph tag. The same concept applies here. You are starting and ending a table, hence you need a table tag. Next, inside, you have a table row. In this case, we're using TR, again, table row. For every row you have, you are using the TR tag. Now keep in mind that even though the table itself may be visually created from left to right, you are coding this up to down or top to bottom. So even though the items that you're creating may look in your code 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, it is creating it per column in the visual table. So next, once we have the TR, let's add the TD or table data, also known as a table cell, but in HTML language, we're using TD, table data. In this case, we're wrapping a TD around the item for the very top. Next, we have price, so we wrap TD around price. Next, we have quantity. Let's wrap that with a TD tag. And last, we have total. Let's wrap that in a TD tag. So again, even though you are designing it from left to right, the code should go from top to bottom. Again, all this is wrapped inside of a TR tag, which is wrapped inside of a table tag. Next, let's get to the rest of the code. So you can see that we've carried the pattern with the TDs and the TRs down into the rest of the data. In this case, we have a fraction, a quote for 3/4 inch screws wrapped in a TD tag, the $6 a box TD tag, 2 TD tag, $12 TD tag, and then wrapping that all up in a TR tag. And then the rest is just rinse and repeat. So we have the first table row right here. We have the second table row right here. And then again, the pattern continues with that one and then the last one. We'll get to that one in just a minute. Now, when you're dealing with HTML tables, one thing you may want to do is add a temporary border. If you have data just like this when you're creating your HTML tables, you may not be able to see how the data is broken up. But what you can do is add a temporary attribute to the table tag, and that is specifically the border attribute. Now keep in mind, if you run this through the validator will tell you that this is an invalid attribute. It is because modern techniques allow for CSS to allow us to create items like borders. But in this case, since you don't know CSS yet, you can add the border to the table tag to create a visual border for HTML. This is only temporary. Don't get into a habit for using this. But this is a good idea for you to understand how the data is broken up so you can see where the columns and the rows are by using a border. This is depreciated. Again, do not use this in production work. Don't get into a habit of using this. It's great for temporary work, but don't use it in future projects. For header cells, we are basically modifying a TD tag to a TH tag, or a table header. This has predefined styling of being center aligned and bolded. Basically, it provides the header material for a row or column and is usually at the top of a column or the start of a row. Let's see this in action. So for this basic example right here, we see the very top is item, price, quantity, and total. But our code has them all written in TDs. So let's take away the styling and add a border so that we can see how it would actually look coded. So you can see the TDs all look the exact same. We have item, price, and quantity, the exact same alignment and font weight as the rest of the table. If we modify the TDs to THs, you can now see that item, price, quantity, and total have been center aligned and they've been bolded. That is by automatic with the browser. TH allows you to specify a header for the column or the row so that you can specify what the top or the far left of the data should be. Next is some additional structure. For example, the table caption. This is optional but recommended. This aids with accessibility so that assistive devices and search engines can understand the data being displayed. Because overall, the search engines and accessibility software, they don't know what this table means. It's just data in a set of cells. So by adding a table caption, which automatically displays at the top and center of your table above the table, this allows for devices and search engines to understand what the data is representing. You can change the placement of this and a few other styling modifications with CSS. We'll get to that later. But one thing you must keep in mind, if you're using a caption, it must be the first child of your table. You can't put it at the bottom of your table. You can't put it in the middle of a TR. You can't put it in the middle of a TD. You can't do anything. It must be the first child no matter where it's placed visually on the table. If you're going to use a caption, put it right after your border, or your table tag. Yeah. That is it for this first section. In the next section, we'll be talking about some more advanced table techniques and organizations for your actual data. If you have any questions, please send me an email or hit me up on Twitter, and I'll get back to you the best way I know how.